Tech Tales 56, today, June 11th, on a Friday morning, 7:21 a.m. It's going to be a race against the clock to see if I can publish this by my self-imposed 8 a.m. Pacific time publishing deadline. So the first one is Thursday, May 27th, 56 minutes. And this is for the cabling company Mike. 9:01 to 9:57 a.m. With the time slip is named as Charlie in the office. Resumed efforts to unlock email address 1. I'm going to start referring to these as email address 1, 2, and 3 for this company because we're going to be talking about them in a few different time slips. So resumed efforts to unlock email address 1. All paths failed, meaning all attempts failed to unlock it, but additional information was obtained. Deferred further work due to other obligations. So that just means during that period of time, I had tried a variety of ways to unlock that, and they all failed, and I'm just deferring. So then I'm going to go ahead to the next time slip because we're going to come back around to the cabling company. So the same day, Thursday, 7 minutes, 12:50 to 12:57 p.m. for the construction company Sierra. I don't think I've talked about them in Tech Tales yet. I don't hear from them so often, but they've been a long time client, and they have had periods of time in the past where they had a lot of time slips and a lot of bills, but we got a lot of their issues stable. And so this was actually the construction company Sierra, and then Sierra within that office. This person's name begins with an S. She is a remote worker, rarely in Fresno where the main office is. And she essentially, I think, is in a sales capacity for them. Phone support to configure email settings on new iPhone. Entered host name for incoming and outgoing servers, username and password. This person seems to get a new iPhone almost every year. Maybe it's 2 years. I don't know, but it seems like every time that I have a call from this person, it's for her cell phone. She doesn't actually connect remotely to a computer in the office. I think all her work is done remotely. Now, the unique thing here is that she lives in the hills, the coastal range in California, and she's in an area where she does not get a broadband internet service. She actually uses her cell phone to provide internet access for her computer. So as I'm working with her to configure her cell phone, you know what? It's interesting. I have not yet connected remotely to her cell phone. I probably could through LogMeIn Rescue because I can connect to a cell phone that has internet access. But anyway, what I do with her is I talk her through the settings. Now, they have, usually configuring email on a cell phone is pretty easy. You put in the email address and password and boom, it figures it all out. Doesn't work in this case because they have an internet provider that doesn't use an Exchange server. It's possible they have stepped up to that, but I don't think so. So it's an imap configuration with for imap for incoming and SMT for outgoing. So she actually has to type in the incoming and outgoing server designations for this to work. And I found in this type of configuration there's some other sometimes some other unusual configurations to do. There's one point where you click OK and you expect to get a failure message, You click OK for that. You expect to get another failure message. You click OK for that, and then you just go to the Mail app and it works. And I don't think that's actually the issue that we have on her phone. It might be. I have the specific steps written out in my OneNote file for this office, and I have those steps also written out in my OneNote file for a couple other offices that have similar situations. This email provider is 1&1, and I might compare notes someday with Mike Smith on that, because I know that he has some clients that have that. And then the next time slip is Thursday, also 18 minutes. And this is for the cabling company, Mike, and for Charlie in the office. He owns the business. 4:30 to 4:48 p.m. So this was a phone conversation. Discuss status of email address 1 account, which has the user ID that is used for email account 2, which makes it impossible to recover the password for email address 1. Determined workaround method to be implemented. So this, I'm only discussing this particular twist. So the user ID 1, which is att.net account. Okay, so it looks like an email address at att.net. When I try to recover the password for that, I eventually realized that it's impossible, because the recovery email address for that account is email address 2. So when I click to recover the password for email address 1, AT&T sends an email to address 2, which is sbcglobal.net. AT&T.net, sbcglobal.net are two names sort of for the same company. If I recall correctly, I think AT&T.net, which is the larger company, bought or absorbed or whatever SBC Global, which is essentially, I believe, a West Coast telephone service company, SBC Global. So the two email addresses are sort of from the same company, but they're different domain names. So the password recovery address for email address 1 is the email address is the second email address. When I perform the password recovery for that, when it sends me the recovery link, it actually is recovering the password for the second account, not the first one. So it doesn't do me any good to get access to the second account. So I can't reset the password for the first one. The security questions using that method didn't work, because for address 1 didn't work because it said we had the wrong answers. There was a question 1, a question 2, and a zip code. We don't know which of those we're getting wrong. So we tried a few different variations and the possible combinations. Because, like, what is your favorite car? Well, did I use the make of the car or the model of the car, or how did I spell out the whole name or whatever? I don't even remember if that was the question that he had, but the two security questions we kept getting wrong. The zip code we think was probably right because the company never moved, unless the account was originally billed to his home address. It's possible. It's a long time ago. This would have been back when they used dial-up modems. So the method of security questions failed to recover the address. The method of sending an email to the recovery email address doesn't work because that email address is associated with another account in the same company's domain. Now remember, we're doing this recovery thing on AT&T.net or SBC Global I can attempt to do recoveries either way. But the email is actually managed and housed by Yahoo. Then I said, determine workaround method to be implemented. Now I'm going to describe that in a separate time slip because I know that I have that separately. So we're kind of taking the different elements of this cabling company in at separate times. So how do I at the end of this say, I hope that was useful? How is this going to be useful to, I suppose it could be, and maybe more to the point of saying that there are some real head scratcher things that we come across as computer technicians in real world. If you were to send a request to another YouTube tech channel, could you do a video on how to recover an account address? Well, they're going to tell you the basic account recovery type steps. But this is a really oddball type situation, and these things happen. So anyway, we do have a workaround method, and I'll tell that in another Tech Tales. So that's it for now. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.